I sent my grandpa some photos I took, and he ended his email with this remark. So I flew to Catalonia, Spain, met another grandpa, and walked 170 kilometers in 11 days to reconnect with him, the world, and write the script for my most important film yet, as well as getting COVID and reduced lung capacity. That's not really what motivated what, but let's go with it. We had arranged to rendezvous with my grandpa at a hostel in Barcelona. I hadn't seen him in years and was kind of nervous.
Ja.
Hej på dig.
Hej.
Så nu, ja just det.
Ja.
Duscha?
Duschar jag. Ser jag är varm.
Ja.
Så är caliente.
Jag har just duschat en timme.
Du ser ut som en yoshi-terrier, pappa.
Alright, we are in Ribes de Freser, and I was thinking about all of the gear that I have and just how I'm not actually making films, and this is the summer of my freshman year. I only have so much time left. So the plan is, let's go and make a film, and that's awesome, but it's actually really hard to come up with a story and have something meaningful and a reason for you to be making something. Anyway, the plan is to get some writing done and figure out the script on this trip, but now let's go to the Airbnb. The B&B was well furnished and sized. The cool sound of the river rushing by would atone for the building's few problems. It would serve as a home base, and I should have been wondering what adventures would happen tomorrow. But I was struggling with the weight of how little I had done in the first part of the summer, and a feeling that the vlog was going wrong and that school was coming for me. It all felt like it was crumbling, and I wasn't enjoying the vacation. Strange chest pain and a building rash on my face wasn't exactly helping. Regardless of my sadness, though, the sun began to rise on the next day. But I started out irritated. It's so stupid, and it's like now the batteries are just terrible. Just work. Alright, so our route today is the Route of Forts. Thank you to the kind people at the visitor center. Let's go! Well, it started okay. We saw 2 cool fountains. But it fell apart fast. We got lost from the pamphlet's trail and from Abuelo, and I was feeling even worse. Though we were walking through beautiful forests, I was dragging the trip down for my parents. We didn't see any ruins, just cows and amazing paths, but poisoned by my fears. Alright, we're trying to backtrack here, but honestly, I have no idea where I am. I'm feeling really done with this trip, and like this vlog is going nowhere, and I'm not even at all working on the script, which is the whole point, or reconnecting with Abuelo, who... Do you see Abuelo? No Abuelo, there's a cow. We're not on the right path. I'm just really tired and done with this, and not feeling like this trip is going the way it should, but I don't know. I don't have a story. But we did have some luck with a fellow traveler.
Esa es esta. Uh-huh. It's that way. Yeah. Okay.
So that must be this way.
Okay, let's try that.
Okay. After getting lost in the forest, we made our way up toward Mount Taga. This literally feels like the Winnie the Pooh forest. Yes, it was beautiful, and I want to pretend that everything was good. But I'd been rude. I'd chased Abuelo off, and I held the trifecta of sadness, anger, hurt, and fear. Finishing our excursion towards Taga, over the first 2 days we had gone 9 miles and climbed more than 2,500 feet. It's about half what the plan was, but given that the first day was a bit of a wash getting to Rebus, this was actually one of the only things that was going well for me. Anyway, the next day we followed Abuelo's plan to go to the tiny town of Serrat and the slightly less tiny town of Queralbs before trying to get home with the Rack Railway. I was still dragging things down, but I don't want the video to be a downer, and this was the most amazingly beautiful walk. A theme in my life this last year has been, and I think I made this up, the edge of humanity. It's the point where human form, emotion, and thought is transcended, where the line of being animal and thinker and human and computer is blurred. Where cast away are the subtleties of existence and all is put forth to serving a greater purpose, regardless of suffering. The questions were, why do I keep thinking of this? And what does it mean for me? I didn't know. But through the amazing forest, we made it to Serrat, a minuscule town of ancient beauty and commitment to the old ways. Then, from Queralbs to Rebus on the train, our journey was beginning, and I finally had a chance to write. Alright, I am back, back with bad hair, and a rash, apparently. So yeah, a lot of things are going wrong, but also a lot of things are going right, like licorice and awesome day. Thank you so much, Abuelo, for planning that route. Now I'm gonna write some more, so let's go. Alright, I didn't actually get that much done, but I'm gonna go to bed. Good night. But then darkness caught me again. I'm at a low point in the trip right now, and I don't feel like anything's going well. My script, my relationships, my summer plan. Well, here's an interesting one. No battery. I guess that saves you a filming montage. No, it doesn't, but I will try to make things more brief. We traveled to Pyrenees via a detour to the quaintest farming town possible. I had recovered from whatever happened last night, but I was far from okay. I was getting a few good hours every day, and it would seem like Happy Frey was back again, but then it would all fall apart. I still wasn't sure what to do about it, but it was time for more writing. First draft finished. Absolutely horrible, but better than I've done before, since I haven't actually written a proper script, so glad I'm doing it. On Monday, we decided to go up to the town of Campellis, and taking the long route down, I found the shot I bought my new lens for. And then the day was pretty much done. Nope! We found an anti-aircraft base. Okay, yeah.
I don't want to run into somebody who's in there, but that pee is fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Light.
Holy cow. Alright, this is too creepy.
You don't want to surprise a
Yeah,
large
animal
animal.
that can attack.
Oh, there's light vents.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm shaking.
He goes down.
Yeah. I don't want to get stuck in here with a bear. You can go ahead if you want.
Oh, thanks.
Is that you? Timmy? Okay. Our best guess is that this is a Spanish Civil War bunker.
There's another doorway. We can go out here.
And our best guess is that this is a second one. Whoa. There's headroom in here. Ooh, bat.
Hey, is it playing?
It's upside down and then they start flying. That's how they work in movies.
Get a picture of it.
It's about, I'd say, a hand length. Maybe less. I'm scared of it. It could bite us. But there's a piece of paper. Oh, bat flying, back. The bat flew. Then we walked back down out of the mountains to Rebus, despite my father's rather hilarious comment.
We just slid down a hill to a road, and now we're walking.
Now we're going back over a paintball course. On the 12th, we went swimming, and I tell you guys about my story. Alright, so my story is about a person who wants to become a writer, and they're trying to follow the wisdom of this poem called Invictus, and it's basically about never giving up and being motivated. No matter what the circumstances are outside, you still have control over how you feel and how you act. But this character doesn't feel like they are born with this idea of an unconquerable soul, which is core to the poem, and they aren't sure if they can grow one. They're trying to go through things they're uncomfortable with. And they have conflict with a friend who feels like they aren't being treated correctly and who sees some of the problems in their character. And the tale goes from there, and it's full of problems right now. But one of them that I think I can solve is that the ending lacks a little bit of an oomph. And I think part of the reason why is that it lacks a clear call to action at the end. My English teacher always has us put in these like corny, hey, here's what you can do about this issue at the end of an essay. And I think it's always a little bit blatant and doesn't really add that much. But I think in the context of this story, to have some sort of motivation at the end that goes in line with the point of the poem and the point of the story would help a lot. And I'm struggling to figure out how to put that in there. The next day, we went to the sanctuary at the top of the mountain, Nuria. I set out with the plan to tell you about this edge of humanity, how I had learned about it. But I realized I was planning on learning lessons that I already knew. Like the youngsters in the old stories who have to learn to listen to their elders, I already knew what I needed to learn. But to really believe it and see it and feel it, I had to climb epic mountains, bathe in snowmelt, and gallivant across the country. There were dark times and light times, for life was more intense on the trip, but realizations abounded, about more than my silly edge of humanity. We arrived at Nuria. Now a ski attraction, the place has had a rich history and legend. It has been sold between courts and monasteries, militarized, and built up for winter sports. The legend of Nuria surrounds the Virgin Mary's image being carved and then exiled, but more practically, hydroelectric infrastructure covers the land, powering towns like Rebus below. Then we took a break at the restaurant at Nuria. We found an old abandoned, anti-air base.
There, what's his name?
Franco.
And the bell tolls for you.
Oh, Hemingway.
Hemingway. that war.
The Spanish Franco War?
What is it, the Franco War?
Mm-hmm.
Shooting the frogs if they came over here to the sticks. That was
Because you were born in World War II,
No,
47?
after.
After.
No, that one was, we call it a Köttberget, the meat mountain. I belong to that. After the war finished, everyone screwed their heads off. Bubble of the population around the world increased tremendously.
The celebration of
Yeah.
the end of the war.
And you had to do that by screwing
to a baby boom.
your head off.
Yeah, I see.
If we hadn't had that, we wouldn't be 8 billion.
As we got to know Abuelo, we also bought the wrong tickets and had to ride the gondola up the mountain.
This was the plan we were doing, actually, wasn't it? To take the walk up.
By the 14th, we were about 62 miles in and almost 3 miles up. We walked to Bruguera and found this church and this fountainside shrine before eating an amazing dinner. Walking back, though, there was a magical moment. Every step I took was more towards my journey, but I finally felt a little safer after all that had happened on the trip. It reminded me of what started the journey, my other grandfather's note, and the interview that it sparked. Hello, this is my grandpa, who ends his emails with, how do you pronounce it? Solvitur Ambulando? What does this mean, and why is it at the end of your emails?
And I like the quote because it sort of says that anything that's bothering you or anything that you're trying to figure out, you could solve it by walking. If you just go walking by yourself, whatever you're trying to settle, whether it's a problem or thinking about your future, or even if you're upset about something, usually walking helps a lot, for me anyway.
The next day was to Valfagna, and now is a good time to say that the darkness for me was not gone, just appearing less, and certainly appearing less on camera. Anyway, we came to a great medieval bridge, and I worked a little on my script. But just look at this face. It isn't a happy one. And even when we came to this wondrous waterfall, all I wanted to do was sulk back home. On what was nearly the last day, we walked up to the refugee Pla de Arola, a restaurant and hostel atop the hill, complete with a view, a cat, and food for weary travelers. Wow, I'm enjoying these wonderful views and sights and sounds, but I realized you can get here for a lot less. Get some cheap kebab, drink from the fonts, and sleep under the stars or at some affordable hostel. You can do that. Come here or somewhere less explored, or maybe more explored. You have a whole world, and who else is it for but nature around me and future people? Just leave it better than you came. Last year, I tried to be some kind of an academic, and I learned a lot, of course, even though I still know nothing. But just a few weeks here has changed the course of my life more, changed who I am more than all of a year of school. It's certainly made for a better film. I don't know if this is stupid and everyone else figured it out years ago and I'm just being naive, but if that Mark Rober juicy nugget helped anyone, then making this whole video is worth it. Anyway, I think I've got like 1 day left here, and I want to talk more to my abuelo. I've seen a lot of the good and the bad in myself, in him, And I want to see where that lands in the last day here. And what parts of my struggles are me as a person, and what parts are maybe more genetic, and maybe a little bit less unique and sad than I might have at first thought. It is now pretty much the last day, or the last day that I'm gonna film, and I want this to end epically, but I'm having so much trouble deciding on a plan to go, and not everyone can agree on where to go, and it doesn't look like this story is gonna end with slaying a dragon, but not all stories can, so I just have to hope that whatever we find at the end of some random trail is a great end to this adventure.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.
You really never know what's gonna happen. This annual Festival of the Giants was wonderfully timed with the rest of the trip, but we hadn't yet reached the dragon. Alright, let's go for one last walk. Solvitur Ambulando means solved by walking in Latin, and that is what I was doing, or wanted to be doing, solving the problem of my script and relationships and vlog by walking, but I was definitely far from okay. I have yet to get over this darkness, the fear that controls me, and this trip was only a part of that fear conquering. Going for a walk and pursuing what I love also helped with discovering what that edge of humanity means for me. I have yet to truly reach it, and it will not be in service of a god, for I do not believe in one, but in service to humanity, if indeed I devote my life to cinematography, to giving others hope. I suppose reaching this edge is like giving yourself to the battlefield of life, for a fealty to something that you really believe in, and doing it with joy. To get there, I have to keep conquering my fear, and that fear is solved by walking.
Well, I think if you just go walking by yourself and just think about,
Solvitur Ambulando.
whatever you're trying to settle, whether it's a problem or thinking about your future or whatever you're thinking about. Even if you're upset about something, usually walking helps a lot, for me anyway.